The room was electric. Cameras flashed, reporters scribbled in haste, and millions of Americans tuned in to watch what was supposed to be another routine congressional hearing. But what unfolded that day would shake the very core of political discourse in America. At the center of it all stood Senator John Kennedy. Known for his down-to-earth charm and razor-sharp wit, he had weathered political storms before. Yet, this moment was different. On the opposite side sat Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, a fiery and passionate voice of the younger generation. Their clash wasn't just about policy, it was about ideals, respect, and the soul of American leadership. The tension built quickly as discussions grew heated. AOC, visibly frustrated, leaned forward and, in a voice dripping with disdain, snapped, "Sit down, boy." The room fell silent. The insult hung in the air like smoke after a gunshot. Gasps rippled through the crowd, and even the cameras seemed to pause. Politicians whispered to one another, staffers froze, and the American public, watching live, felt the sting of the words. For a moment, Kennedy said nothing. His face was unreadable, but his silence carried more weight than any outburst could. The nation waited. Everyone expected anger, a sharp retort, or maybe even an exchange that would spiral into chaos. But Kennedy didn't lash out. Instead, he leaned back in his chair, adjusted his glasses, and looked directly at AOC with calm, steady eyes. When he finally spoke, his voice was low but powerful, the kind that made the entire room lean in to listen. "Congresswoman," he said, "I may be many things, but I am not your boy. I am a public servant, elected by the people of Louisiana, just as you were elected by the people of New York. We may disagree, but respect is the bridge that makes democracy possible. Tear that bridge down, and we all fall into the river." The words struck with the force of truth. They weren't shouted. They weren't laced with venom. They were spoken with dignity, humility, and an unshakable belief in what America stood for. The room was still, the air heavy with realization. AOC blinked, clearly unprepared for such a response. The fire in her eyes dimmed just slightly, replaced with something else, perhaps regret, or perhaps recognition that she had crossed a line. Reporters scribbled furiously, capturing every word. But Kennedy wasn't finished. He continued, his voice rising just enough to reach every corner of the chamber. "Young people deserve a voice in government. And passion, when guided by wisdom, can change the world. But passion without respect builds nothing. You called me boy, but let me tell you something: America doesn't need more boys and girls in leadership. America needs men and women of character who can stand up, not just for themselves, but for the people who trust them. That's the standard I hold myself to, and I hope you'll do the same." The silence that followed was louder than thunder.